You are recording. That's right. He's kissing the whole association. Thank you.
This is a doubt,
Hello, everybody.
but it's like. Good evening, Madam President. Holy cow. No.
Oh my God, you're funny. All right. So I think we started a minute or two early, but it's football. Okay.
You say it's football.
She did.
What's football?
Monday night. So you want to do roll call?
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking by spots. Lori,
I'm here.
Julia,
Here.
Craig,
Yes.
Evelyn.
Yep.
Jeff.
Yep.
Nancy. Here. Lisa. We have Lynn, tax collector, and missing, Chris,
Here.
and then Dave Giroux is absent.
Yep. So our agenda says reading and acceptance of minutes and of preceding meeting. And I think everybody knows we're not taking written minutes anymore. We're just doing the audio. So there's really nothing to approve anymore. So we're going to take that off there. So moving along, doesn't seem to be any public here, so I'm not going to go over the guidelines. But before we start anything, I want to welcome Nancy. You're welcome. And then I think we'll go right into voting for our officers and get that done. I know Dave is not here, but maybe we can get it done without him. So I think myself, Julia, and Lisa are willing to stay on in our roles unless somebody would like to challenge. We don't have Dave here, but is there anybody that would like to challenge?
Make a motion that you three maintain your position.
I'm not even gonna,
No,
yeah, we're not even gonna go through formalities if nobody wants to challenge.
You sure?
You're doing a fine job.
You
Keep it
can
up.
think about it.
Nope.
All right.
Well, congratulations to you three.
All right. Well, thank you. We can't hear Chris.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there any public comment? And Lynn, that would only be you. Okay. All right, I'm gonna
Well,
remember.
technically, it could be any one of us.
It could, but I honestly,
I'm kidding, I'm
you're the
kidding.
only one I've ever seen do it.
I'm kidding.
As a board member, because you can speak throughout. Pretty much.
That's what I do.
All right, so member correspondence, I'm gonna try to, I have two of them here. Why am I all upside down? So this is from John D. Tomaso. And he said, just a question. At the annual meeting, you were reading a letter from one of the pool of members that could not be there. There was an objection to the reading. Because the meeting didn't include an open comment section, I think I got the terminology right, which he meant public comment. At the time, that made sense, but upon reflection, when is there an opportunity for open comments in a public setting? Is there one? Just curious. So I did answer him. I said, hello, John. Thank you for your email and your question. And I'm saying this mostly for the public. Both the June and August annual meetings focus on addressing the items listed on the agenda and do not include a public comment session, as the Board of Governors aims to keep these meetings focused on updating the membership on current matters. However, we offer a more informal platform for open discussion during our town hall meeting in July, where any member is welcome to raise topics of interest. Additionally, we hold monthly Board of Governors meetings, except in December, but we did last year, which are posted on the website on the events calendar. Members are encouraged to attend either in person or virtually and share their thoughts during the public comment portion. I also read correspondence during these meetings. While the Board of Governors does not engage in discussion during public comment in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, all comments are carefully considered and reviewed afterward. Every voice is heard and every concern is addressed. I hope this helps. So that was one. And then this one was This one was interesting. This is from Joseph Monks. Lori, hi. If I want to move my boat from pool of boat area on land and sink a mooring in the water, what are the rules to follow? I searched bylaws and found no reference to mooring. Perhaps I missed it. Thanks, Joe. I said, hello, Joe. Thank you for your email. I hope I can answer your question to your satisfaction. The moorings in the lake are managed by DEEP, except for the following. Below are the current statements and the rules and regulations regarding moorings or vessels. Please note that the Board of Governors is currently reviewing and updating these outdated rules and regulations for better clarifications. Failure of the owner to remove a vessel from association property after 1 year of published notice will define such vessel as abandoned. The board may sell or dispose of this vessel with all proceeds deposited in the tax collector receipt account. And this is the part that I highlighted. The anchoring and storage of all types of boats, canoes, kayaks, etc., in areas other than those approved by the board is prohibited. I don't know where or how far out he wanted to moor his boat, but so I said to him, and then I also highlighted operating a vessel within 100 feet of an association raft is prohibited. So I just said the two bolded entries above are what currently address moorings regarding pool areas. If you are going to moor your boat out in the lake, I would suggest you clear that with DEEP. From a pool standpoint, please do not moor anywhere within 100 feet of a swimming area or a raft, and please do not moor at BOG Beach. I hope this helps. If you have any further questions, please reach out again. Take care. So I just wanted you all to know that that's how I approached it. If anybody else has any ideas about moorings out in the lake, I mean, I know people swim across the lake, and I think if there's a boat on a mooring, great. You'll see it. I just worry about people swimming into things like that.
It's fine.
Okay. So that's it. So the only thing I have for the officer.
Are you raising your hand, Chris?
Do you want to say something, Chris?
Oh, it looked like you're raising your hand.
Is your mouth full and you just can't tell us?
Yes, I'm eating some nuts. Julia got me all into nuts, so I'm joining her with some nuts. That's it. Not raising my hand.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the only thing I have for an officer's report, and I'm gonna pass it around. This is our 24-25 Board of Governors Code of Conduct. So you can, I'll pass that around.
It's the same as what it was before. Nothing.
Same exact. Yep. Nothing changed. And Nancy, did you read it on the?
Nominating committee.
I read it before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact thing, except for we just put all 9 of us on this one paper for the board.
Okay.
Okay. Tax, I really want to see this football game. All right, Lynn?
Yes. There's a football game.
Okay, tax collectors, we still have about $9,800 outstanding. I have 12 of these individuals of the 21 that, the notice has gone out. They haven't come back, just haven't heard from them. 4 of them are what I call our repeat offenders. These are people that are late every single year.
I see a couple of them.
Yeah, it's like you
thought
kind of
we
get to
ju-
know the names really well.
I thought we Jeopardy built one of them,
We did.
and
We
now
did,
that ran
but
out.
That was Jeopardy bill last year. Now she's out. So, she's back and owing us back. 4 of the 21 have made some payment, but they still owe some interest because they were late. 3 called to make arrangements, but no check yet. And one of them I'm still in the process of tracking down, and we'll talk about that RIT account.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to talk about exemptions.
We can. I mean, I don't think anybody's aware of them, and we just
Okay.
kind of learned about them. So
All right. I know that we had someone who approached Lori about getting taxes reduced. And how does that happen and where does that happen? So that again, all of this is state law. It's one of those things about taxes. Most municipalities in Connecticut use what are called exemptions. An exemption reduces the appraised value of your house. And what that does is it serves to reduce your tax as a result, right? The appraisal comes down by whatever it is, your tax is going to go down. And state of Connecticut recognizes several exemptions: military exemption, disability, blindness. And if someone qualifies, they do it through the town of East Haddam. East Haddam recognizes all of those exemptions. And so, you know, if they end up being awarded that exemption, this taxpayer, then the town goes back to the state of Connecticut. The state of Connecticut has money and they reimburse. So interesting
state
how
doesn't
that
lose
works,
anything.
right?
That's great.
So the town doesn't lose anything because the state, it's really on the state coffers to take care of people with disabilities or who are blind or who are, you know, veterans with some kind of military service. So East Haddam uses all of those exemptions. Those are the exemptions that are available. They also have property use exemptions. I know we have at least 2 lots here that qualify for property use. It's like agriculture green space.
Okay.
And because they're agriculture green space, they're out. Technically, our POLA properties also qualify for exemptions. So, you know, we don't pay taxes on our own stuff. We pay it to East
On
Haddam.
some of them, right?
Right. But exemptions aren't automatic. Taxpayers have to apply for these every year. There's a very specific time period during which they have to apply. So if they got an exemption one year, they don't do the application the following year, go down to town hall and do what they need to do, they don't get it the next year. Just so you know. Now, one of the things is I was doing this research and I'm looking at it and thinking, when I looked at our grand list, you can see who has exemptions and you see how much they reduce the appraisal. One of the things that Lake Hayward has not done, and I can do this, is I can go to the Office of Policy Management and ask if we qualify as a special taxing district for reimbursement. We might, I'm not sure, but we might not. So I think it's worth the ask. It is paperwork on our part, on my part, because I have to calculate what's the difference between what they would have paid versus what the exemption did, and then I have to apply for that every year to the state to get it back.
Yeah, it's a
But, you know,
phone
it's not a
call.
lot of money, but I think
Right.
it's worth
Peggy
it.
Flynn.
Yeah, so when it's a phone call, we can't, it won't automatically let them in.
Lots have green space exemption.
They're up on Cragmere.
Oh, and are they using it for farming or?
I think that
Forestry
they promise to leave it
Oh, natural?
natural
Oh,
and not develop.
I hit admit,
So I think
but
that that's how that
she's not
works.
there.
So if you don't mow your
Well, I
lawn,
think
you're all
There's
right.
2
There you
people
go.
down on the bottom.
They
Click
did.
on that
Noted.
bottom. See the 2 heads down on there?
Yeah,
Now,
it's Chris and us.
You get it?
Oh,
right,
I don't know.
Oh.
Like it try again.
I admitted her.
okay. So credits is another thing that can happen. Credit's not the same as an exemption. Credit means that the money actually comes from the taxes. Currently in Connecticut, there's only 3 cities that, allow credits. And they're all elderly and income based. So like in the town of Hamden, if you're over 65 and your income is under like 20,000, I think they give you a $2,000 credit. But they've got a table, it all spells out. They used to have to do a freeze. And then they figured this freeze was just not viable for them. It was economically bad. And so they've now converted, but I think they're also in the process of getting rid of the credits. So again, were we to do this currently, if someone here in the association gets the exemption through East Haddam taxes come down, our taxes also come down. So they're already getting the credit for it in essence. But if we were thinking about doing something extra, I figured, let me just sort of give you a little background as to what's generally available.
Right. Our charter only talks to people
Bless you.
whose
Bless you.
homes, bless you, have been subjected to fire or other elements
Mhm.
that we can abate the taxes. But it doesn't say anything about a hardship or anything like that. We have no program.
Mhm.
Actually, even for the abatement for fire or Mother Nature elements, I'm not even sure how we would go about doing that either, because we've never done it.
I think that East Haddam does have the ability to do that. And would that flow to us? I'm not. I can ask.
Okay. So Lynn, there is a parcel of land
Mhm.
that Lynn has brought to attention. They have recently paid their East Haddam taxes, but they have not paid Pula taxes. And I think this is an ongoing one that happens all the time, right? Lynn's thought was that perhaps they would want to sell. And this is one of the properties that's a parcel only. So they get the amenities and everything, all the use of Pula. But they don't have a home and they don't reside here. And it doesn't look like they're here too often. But it's on Longwood. And it's actually, there's two parcels, but this yellow one is the parcel. It's between 152 and 154 Longwood. And we do have the ability to purchase property. But so just kind of a thought in everybody's mind.
Is that a buildable lot?
No. It's so that's why we're saying it's solely a parcel, and the parcel allows them to use all the amenities, the beach, the everything. And the assessment is $5,000. So the taxes are
$19.
So we're not
So
missing
they-
out on anything.
so they're paying $19 and they have use of all the amenities. Go ahead, John.
Essentially, it's a non-conforming building lot.
Yes,
Exactly
it's
where it is.
non-buildable. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the theory to buy that is to basically protect our interest, because if an organization bought it and sent a busload of people
Right.
down, they have all the rights to use the property.
Exactly.
So, I
And
think
for $19,
We're not losing anything.
But if
Right.
they don't want to sell, then we don't have a leg. to
right,
stand on.
right. If they don't want to sell. So,
Well, in this particular instance, and this is why I brought it to Lori's attention. It's two brothers who purchased this together back in probably the 80s. They also purchased a parcel on Lake Bashan. I hope I'm saying that right.
Bashan Lake.
Bashan Lake.
Yeah.
Thank you. Which they recently sold. There was an attorney that was involved in that. Yeah, he had some correspondence with this new owner who purchased that piece of property, saying, it's not in probate, kind of like yet. These are old guys. One's in California, one's in Massachusetts. They may be, and that's why I said, this may be something that they're interested in selling.
So how do we approach that? What's the assessment on it?
well, the assessment's 7,000.
Okay,
I
so
mean, I'm sorry, the
5,000.
assessment's 5,000, but the it's valued at $7,470. So,
You want me to just approach them and buy it from them and just probably away? Just kidding.
And how many years of unpaid taxes?
Well,
well,
they're just late,
just
right?
this
Just
year.
late this
Oh,
year.
just the year.
Right,
Okay.
and they were hard to track down.
Yeah, because one's
Um,
in California and one's in Massachusetts.
Right, and we think Lynn got the right address, and
This time.
yeah, and we haven't heard back from them yet either. So,
Do you have the attorney's information too?
Yes, I do.
Is this something you would like to? Or would you
So
rather
what I've
someone else?
been doing is I've been working at tracking down the owners. And this is how I ended up with the attorney who handled the closing for Lake Bashan. And so I thought, send all of that here, because before you talk to the attorney, I thought, if you're interested in buying it, let's just talk about that.
Mhm.
Because I talked to Roger last year. He's old. So, this may end up in an estate situation, right?
so rather than have it wind up in that type of thing, we thought being proactive might be a better approach.
And avoid attorney fees.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't,
And avoid attorney fees.
well, yeah,
For now.
Yeah.
yeah, especially if they go into collections and so forth. So, so a thought in everybody's mind, and,
I'm all in favor of looking into it.
okay,
Is this something that we send a letter? Or does somebody make up like, there has to be some kind of an offer made or a,
right, I would obviously talk to the attorney and,
Can we say like, if we'll make you an offer and forgive your back
$19?
taxes?
No, we would pay it on their behalf.
Or
Right.
what- Yes.
Yeah.
so,
It's only $19. I guess I missed that. So.
Yeah.
you know, it's assessed and if it's a non-building lot, which
That's-
we don't know what they're selling for, you know, we'd have to look into that, even though it's,
But would we do that as an association? Sorry, Greg.
no, it's fine.
Like the association would purchase?
right, yes.
The other question is, the two abutting properties on either side, do they maybe have an interest in wanting to have more cushion between them? And
Well, one's a parcel,
Yeah.
one's another parcel, and then the other side is, a home,
so the, but,
Another unbuildable lot.
right?
so it's, oh, really?
Yeah, there's
Yes.
two unbuildable
Couldn't you put
lots.
two unbuildables together and make a
Yeah.
buildable?
Next to each other?
Yeah, but the, one of them is not for sale, or not in
Well, I
this,
mean, but to Craig's point, they may want to buy that.
Yeah.
Right, because
we're
if it's, I'm guessing it's a very small parcel. It's like a strip,
it's
right?
a tenth of an acre.
Okay, so compared to the
0.11.
one next to it, which
Wait.
is,
The same.
For their 2.11 acres. So
They
they,
got a quarter of an acre.
so it still wouldn't be buildable, even if you put the two together. However, the houses on the other side,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Um,
So the neighboring properties of but the one, okay, so I don't know how to say, property one is the issue
yes,
because they pay late and they're older and everything we just talked about. Property two, they're not an issue, are they?
no,
Right. And so if property two wants to get involved and say, I want two properties, or if the abutting where there's a house on the other side, if they just want to have more cushion in their property and just buy it and combine their properties. I mean, I guess that's something maybe as a board, we should approach the owner of the house and say, you know,
well, we don't
you
even
want to buy
know,
this?
we don't even know if these people want to sell
Well,
yet.
no, I know that, but what I'm saying, I'm just saying, add it to the list of things that need to be kind of figured out. Because we could buy it as an association if they're willing to sell it to us.
Right.
Oh,
What's the benefit?
what's the benefit for us to do that?
As already stated.
Right, the benefit is
Well, that's
That's
what,
a huge benefit.
that even
Yeah,
if they
busload of
have,
people come from-
even if they have a family
Urban.
of 6 coming, it's still $19 a year.
but isn't the property next to it, can't they combine the two?
Can I officially speak, please?
Yes,
I don't care about the other properties on their neighbors. Let's just, if we feel as a board, it's in our best interest, forget the other guy. Let's just go pursue that owner, the two brothers. That's all.
good.
Make them a good offer and see where it goes. Forget about the other guys. It's irrelevant.
I agree to agree. I don't think it's a board's job to be a broker for anyone
Right.
else.
Thank you.
This is enough right now.
Right.
They can access the information on the website.
Who would like to participate in the contacting? Is that something you wanted to do? Lynn?
Lynn looked the other way.
Listen, for the record, I was only bringing it up in discussion because.
No, I agree,
Because
because
if-
let's not waste more
because-
time about it. That's all. That's all. You know,
Well, I didn't
that's-
think it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
I thought I was just providing a suggestion as another thing to look at, another avenue to look at.
All
So
right, so,
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I'm just,
I'll keep in touch with Lynn. We'll keep in touch with where this resides if she gets in a hold of the owners, and then from there, we'll talk again. So this is food for thought. You have something to say, Julia?
Well, we've talked about always, let's have an action item. And I know when she's got the attorney, I know she might hear from the men, she may or not, the older gentleman. But if should we make a motion that we want to pursue it?
I
And
make a
then just
motion that we
appoint
pursue
somebody
the
to
possible
pursue it.
purchase of that
Let's-
parcel.
We need to have more
Exactly.
action.
That's what I was trying
Okay.
to.
Yeah.
Well, does somebody want to second that?
second
motion?
that.
Okay. All in favor for looking at this parcel, for purchase?
I can't tell. Chris.
Where's Chris?
Chris, where are you?
I don't know. I can't see.
Well, anyway, the motion carries.
Okay.
Chris is getting some ice from my wrist.
Oh, we just,
I agree.
okay, good. Thank you.
Do you want to appoint
Yep.
someone to pursue it with Lynn after she gets information?
Well, it's
Well, shouldn't
something
it come
I'm gonna
from the
have to go to the attorney for, so I think once she gets it, then I can,
I've already handed it to you. You have the attorney's contact information.
but no, I mean, once you find out.
I don't think she's going to hear from those guys.
No.
I don't think.
And I don't
that's
think it's her,
what
I don't think it's her job as tax collector to take part in this. I think it's our job. as
I'm
a
not
board.
suggesting that.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that her piece was done. I didn't want to.
my piece is, I'm now going to the Newton address. This is like the fourth address I've pursued. I may get it, I may not. But if you're preemptively taking some action because you're aware of a situation where these gentlemen may be motivated to sell, I think that's separate and distinct from the tax stuff.
Okay.
I'm aware of it, so I've let you know. And then it's whatever the board wants to do.
I will reach out to Adam and see what he has to say.
Adam's our attorney.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Lynn.
And that's it.
Nice work.
Anything else you need me for?
One more question. I'm sorry. Lynn. When you said we are 9,000, waiting by 9,000 approximately.
$9,830.65.
And I know you said there's 4 that are typical.
55.
Yes. Then
No, I
would
wouldn't
this
do
be
that.
more, is this an increase in delinquency at this time of year?
So they are accruing interest and additional interest every month. So, my schedule now is the end of October. I'm gonna send them notices. Anyone who's still outstanding, now gets notices that not only is there formal demand, but I intend to lien their properties.
Oh,
And then in November, I'm leaning properties. If my repeat offenders follow the pattern, which they tend to, that means that they'll be on the Adam list come December,
Which would be the attorney.
which will be the attorney. And so what we end up doing, particularly for these repeat offenders, it's what they owe us this year. It's the $1,000 attorney fee. And it's the estimate for the next year as well through Jeopardy collection,
Oh, okay.
so that we don't have to chase them next year. We're
Every
just
year.
chasing them for this.
Thank you.
And some of these were already Jeopardy.
Right, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You think, well,
So,
Marcus got a situation.
yeah.
yes.
Okay. Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Lynn.
Very
Love
good.
it.
Thank you. Enjoy that football game.
I intend to.
I don't understand. What's football?
It's some
I'm kidding.
her game she wants to watch. I know.
Football.
All right. So Lisa couldn't be here tonight. She did send a report. I think everybody saw it, but I'll read, I'm just gonna read her her other information, because all this other stuff we're gonna talk about in the October meeting. So her reports are on the drive. The budget to actuals, the cash flow, and the inflows, outflows are on the drive. So going forward, I will be posting monthly inflow outflows to the treasurer's drive, in and out by month. During my conversations with DeFilio, who is our accountant that does our year-end review, I conveyed my concerns for a lack of oversight to the treasurer's activities. He suggested the Board of Governors can and should review income and expenses each month. This protects me, I make human mistakes, and the membership. Additionally, the Board of Governors can stay informed how the dollars is spent. Going forward, I ask that any services or contracts outside of normal operating expenses be noted to me via email, accompanied with cert of insurance, contract approval, and any other documentation. I will continue to inform the Board of Governors when I receive a non-contractual invoice exceeding $1,000. Anything $1,000 and under, I will assume good faith and intentions have been used, and the Board of Governors will see all expenses paid on the in-out monthly reports. I ask that requests to disperse from the capital funds are also via email and accompanied with proper documentation, and that request copied to the Board of Governors. Any questions?
I have a question on some of the issue. I spoke with her last week.
About the, I don't even want to get into
You don't
that.
want to get
Craig.
into that's not
No,
total.
because it's, yeah, because it's going to be a lot. It's a lot. I don't, yeah. And I know you spoke with her.
Okay, I
know you
didn't,
did.
okay. That's next.
Yeah, I need to sit down and write.
Um,
Over.
any other questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Usually it just shows, oh, somebody else is on there. I'm like, usually it just shows Chris, but it's,
You should mute them probably.
There's a phone.
okay.
You can mute them.
So asset management, Dave could not be here tonight. However, he did want me to mention, and we're not gonna have a long discussion without him here, but, he said, everybody got this in the email, I think. No, he didn't, sorry. Chris P. has a plan for the courts and has expressed interest in developing a pavilion plan. Hopefully, one of the discussion points will be ownership of planning for other assets, capital assets. So, he does list them.
Just that one.
And he's got, First Beach parking lot, basketball court, tennis basketball court, which,
That's
and I think he meant pickleball, sorry. Pavilion, dam, which Chris is on the pavilion, dam, bio basin, playscape, which that's kind of in the, right now it's on the playground committee. And then Glimmer Glen Road, and I added, the rock wall, because that's an expensive, asset, and it does need work. And it will need work going forward. So if any of those items appeal to anybody to take over.
Lori, this is
Yes.
Chris. Did you say I'm on the pavilion?
That's what Dave wrote you. I think you had sent an email, or it was in the last meeting, that you said you would like to develop a management, asset management plan, maintenance plan going forward for the pavilion.
Yes. Yeah, I said I would take a stab at that one, as well as our committee has the courts
Right. So
to include basketball.
and he did actually, he mentioned that as well. He said Chris is already doing the, has already done one for the tennis pickleball courts. I don't know if you did the basketball, but, so he did mention that. And he mentioned that you wanted to do the, pavilion.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Ours does, the courts do, includes basketball. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. I got you written in there. Thanks, Chris.
Go ahead.
Um,
I don't raise my hand, I'm sorry.
I'll take on the rock wall. I've already reached out to a couple people for estimates on repair. You want me to take on that one?
You got it, girlfriend.
Some ice on this thing.
Or if you want to take on one of the other ones?
No, I was gonna say it's first.
Oh.
Wrap, I can help
The parking lot,
You wanna do
First Beach
parking lot?
what? Park, it,
the wall. I would assist with the wall.
What exactly are we?
I don't know what
looking
we're
for? Are we
doing, but-
looking for, what are we trying to accomplish here?
so you're doing an asset management, a plan, a maintenance plan going out, where it's at now, where it needs to be. I think Chris can kind of lend, like, I think everybody got to read Chris's.
Yeah, but his was like 30 years out and.
Right, which Dave also,
Yeah, he said it's different,
He-
it should be. Right.
he looked at the towns, and I think what he came up with was multi-year capital plan for capital assets, revenue projections related to capital assets, revenue expenditure projections related to capital assets, identify surplus and deficits from items A and B that I just read, and build results into annual budget planning. So there's a, I don't want to go into his whole.
No, I get
presentation.
that. I was just trying to, we're gonna, so we have like 10 assets and we're gonna have 10 people come up with 10 different plans. I mean, don't we have the framework for a plan, and isn't it is just as simple as putting it on paper?
I don't know. But we can ask,
Well, I mean, like
SBA.
maintenance on a rock wall is different than maintenance on parking
Absolutely.
lot is different than maintenance on a playground. Is different
Absolutely.
than, so
That's
this
why,
kind of seems like a properties issue to me. Like something that a properties person could look at these things and,
well, so we're doing asset management. Dave is already, and Julia actually
Right.
have already come up with their
The list.
value,
Yeah.
the list and their value. So as a board, we want to be able to provide the next budget committee with the information, with what they need going forward and how they need to structure the budget. So I think this is more of us doing.
Gotcha.
I'll take the dam.
Can you read the list again?
God bless you.
well, that's because there's a committee that's doing it already.
Yeah, well-
She doesn't have to do anything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, I will, because there will be maintenance going forward, but yeah.
Well, I would take the playground once the plan is established, so I can be involved with that.
Okay.
And I also have a question.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was clear that Glimmer Glen was a piece of property that Pola owned. I thought that it was a driveway for the owners. So it is a
Pilgrim
separate.
Way.
Pilgrim Way
Pilgrim
is a
Way.
right of way. It's a
Okay.
that is a true right of way.
We
So
don't
it's a
own it.
piece of property.
Yes, we own Glimmer. Glen.
Okay.
It's different, yeah. Those two are different.
My understanding on Glimmer Glen, Nancy, is that when the town took over all these roads,
Mhm.
that Glimmer Glen decided not to participate because they had to give up 3 feet of their frontage.
I'm sorry, you typed there.
So had they participated, they would have been taken care of by the town.
I see.
So
They don't plow. They don't plow.
No, they actually do.
So then
plow- they
Pola took
actually
over for
do-
those
that.
residents?
no, but
They
we
never-
already own, we owned all the roads.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
It was
then,
first
the-
developed,
and then
yeah.
the town came in and said, or whatever, whoever,
1956.
Okay.
There was a town, there was a town meeting. They bought it, presented, they bought it, all the roads except for Glimmer Glen.
But they still maintain it.
They
Plowing.
do, I think they do that as a favor. They do plow. I don't know if they know that they're not supposed to. They do not plow Pilgrim Way for sure.
Right, because it's not.
Because I checked on that, Yeah.
It's mostly
But-
dirt.
but Glimmer Glen gets plowed. I don't know why they do it.
but I look at it this way, it kind of, it sounds bad. But whether they owned it or not, they own our roads. Look at our road.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Stuck my foot in a giant pothole today. I mean, giant.
Yeah.
So
We shouldn't have sold 1956. What were they thinking?
anyway, so like I said, Dave has much more to present.
Is
And
that list gonna get, can you distribute that list of what,
Please.
yeah,
Thank you.
so really we need First Beach parking lot because it's paved. Probably need,
that's probably pretty easy. I mean, that's probably like.
right, when it's gonna need to be paved and,
Cracks filled and whatnot.
right,
I mean, that's like
sealed. And I don't know if he's including like all the, I think that fencing's brand new. That's all that, but that's expensive.
Yeah, but that's.
So maybe that's part of it.
Courts.
The fencing is part of the courts, but then there's the other, the
There's
rail.
the
split
rail, yeah.
No, not the black fence. I'm talking about the guardrail
Oh,
fence.
yeah.
The wood run.
The wood, yeah, that's not cheap.
Yeah, you really have to get involved with it. It's complete holistic planning. So the fence, the LED lighting now is about 4 years old. It's everything. It's the maintenance that's required from year to year or every 5 years and to all the way
Right.
to replacement.
I just
Yeah,
have a quick
signs are gonna
question
be a good fit.
regarding the parking lot. Do we ever get that seal coated? Like you did
Well,
your,
that's part of,
yeah, no, I'm just saying, I don't recall. Have you recall ever been seal coated? I mean, that's the best way to help out a driveway, to preserve a driveway.
It has been seal coated at least once that I know of.
I'm sorry, it has been?
Yes, yes.
How long ago was that? Do you remember?
Phil would remember. I
Oh,
it
'cause
was
he
probably
repainted
about
the lot?
15 years ago.
Oh,
Oh.
it's needed.
But he was.
Yeah.
It needs it again. It needs it.
Yeah. And I'd be happy to help out with rock wall, playground, whatever you need me,
all right.
you know.
Which one do you want to take? There's a couple. What do you need? You need parking lot? What else
We
you
need
got?
the parking lot. We need the bio basin. And Glimmer Glen. which that's such a contentious
Dave
one.
may want to take Clever Farms.
Yeah, because
Who
that's,
lives there?
yeah.
Parking lot, I'll get a quote on, I mean, it's really just to get a quote on seal coating, right?
And how often.
And how
No, but it's-
often
Right,
and
well, I know, I mean, the
Yeah,
seal coating guy is gonna sell you one, you should do it every 2 years, right?
right.
Okay, so let's be honest with that. So it's just a matter of, we can get an estimate from a guy who wants to make a lot of money every 2 years, or we can say, okay, we spend 2,000 now and we'll address it in 5 years, right? I mean,
right. It's that, yeah, it's
Exactly.
basically that type of thing.
Right.
You know, the fencing, I mean, does it need to be stained or whatever? I don't know, stuff like that, Jeff.
And the parking lots need the signs.
Right.
That we talked about.
Signs, there's the lining of the parking lot too. Phil used to line those things at least every other year, if not every year. They haven't been done now for a year. They need to be lined. The lights, those lights are LED, they're newer. You know, it's the whole thing.
well, seal coating is number one priority.
All right. Any more on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And Dave will, you know, so we're gonna talk more financial next month. So he'll get on that, but,
Do you have a question, Emily?
Yeah, I guess I'm still foggy on what would need to be done for each thing before I commit.
Well, that's just distribute the list and
Yeah.
then you'll
Yeah, and
kind
how
of,
about you
And then I
have
can look
Dave,
at-
maybe Dave can put something
Dave-
together.
I think-
right, right.
yeah.
You can help me out with the parking lot.
Okay,
All right.
I could do that.
So, I don't know if you noticed the agenda and we tried to get it right. We wanted to leave the agenda intact so that it's a little easier. When there's no report that's been given or somebody's not coming, you'll see an asterisk next to, the agenda item. And that means we're going to skip right over it. We're not even going to mention it.
Okay.
So going forward, whoever's on anything, if you got a report, let us know. Please.
Or
We're,
let us know if we're not doing it. 'Cause you know. I'm
Yeah,
always here.
yeah.
All right.
yeah, if you don't have to talk about something,
Okay.
then don't.
Right.
You could just assume the webmaster doesn't have much to talk about and just put that asterisk there. Because there really isn't much to talk about.
Okay. All right. So Chris, we put you on courts. So you're up now, but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
My question for you is, when I was walking Finley today, I came back through the courts and I know the basketball court is going to be resealed the same time as the tennis court, right? Or they're in. Oh, they're not going to do it now?
They never agreed to do it. I said that I would get an estimate to see how much it would cost and get back to everybody.
Oh, okay. Well, just my thought. There are no signs on that door entering the basketball court at all. So if you did, just wanted to put the bug in your head. I'm like, I saw the door wide open and I'm like,
Yep. Yeah, that's on our list of things to do. I agree with you.
okay, because if we make it nice and then there's strollers and chalk and dogs, that's not
Yeah.
gonna work.
I don't think it's gonna happen this year. We're keeping our fingers crossed that we could get on their schedule to do the pickleball and tennis courts this year. There was a hope, but I didn't have our committee didn't have the funding until just recently to discuss it with them. And then when I discussed it with VT Recreational, they're so busy that I just don't think we're going to have time to do the basketball courts this year. But when they're here, our plan is to get an estimate of how much it will be to seal the courts, paint the courts, or just seal it and line the courts. So we'll look at it a couple of different ways, see which of the three options is within our budget.
Awesome.
Question.
So how is that? How is their time frame looking? Because I know you power washed, right, this weekend?
Yeah, so I touched base. I continue to touch base with them throughout the summer. And as we got closer to September, I would ping them every week. And last week I pinged them 3 times, two by phone and actually 4 times, and 2 by email. So it's going to be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease is what I'm hoping for. I sent them an email over the weekend and hoping that I would hear back from them today. They told me they were going to call me today. They didn't call me today. They told me to go ahead and pressure wash the courts, that they were preparing their Connecticut schedule. So with my sister-in-law's help, we got a dozen people to help, and it was a big effort. It was almost 5 hours to pressure wash and prep the courts, and then another 2 hours by Scott Childs to once the courts dried, to blow them off. But we had 12 people, we had a dozen people, and we did it through Team Reach. It was a huge effort, big savings, big cost savings to do that. They turned out great. So I was so happy. There was a lot of folks. I don't want to mention any names because I don't think I could remember everyone's name, but there was a lot of folks that helped out. So I didn't hear from them today, so I gave them 1 day break. I'm going to call them tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to tell you guys when the courts will be done.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions for Chris? None? No questions. Okay, so Evelyn, I didn't know if you had anything on geese, so I didn't asterisk you.
The good news is they're gone. And the reason how we got them gone is I was coming down at night and harassing them, and they go up to the farm, or Lynette was coming, or I go out in the morning and they go up to the farm. So for 3 days, Labor Day weekend, I had them come out in the morning and they did this back and forth. They went to harass them at the lake, harass them from the farm, harass them. They used the laser. They did that for 3 days and they're gone. So I think they're probably all up in New Britain. It was a Goosenator, but
Hey,
so
Evelyn.
yeah.
Hey, Chris Pop, I just want to thank you. You did a good job keeping your poise in some of these recent meetings that we had, where we had a lot of critics saying that harassing the geese was a waste of money, waste of time, wasn't going to do anything. Getting the eggs was the only way to get rid of the geese. So I don't know if the geese are going to come back, but they've been gone for a while, and obviously it had nothing to do with getting rid of the eggs at this present time, during these last few weeks. It was probably partial to harassing them. They found an easier place to live. So I wanted to thank you very much for you to sticking to your guns and doing what you did. In my opinion, you got a lot of heat, and I don't think you deserved any of it, and you did a great job. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, 30 with the adults that we had and the babies born in the spring. I think 30 of the geese were ours, but we had some nights and mornings between 60 and 90. So that continual harassment for 3 to 4 days got them gone. I also finally heard from the gentleman at Deep and asked what the results were, and he said it wasn't ovarian flu. And I said, well, what was it?
That's all they cared about. That's why they said if it wasn't a mass killing, they don't care.
Ovarian?
How much did we pay for that?
Evian. Yeah.
Avarian?
No.
What is it?
Avian.
Avian flu. It's not an avian flu, and that's all they test for.
Ah,
Can I ask how much we paid for that?
Nothing.
Oh, good.
Well,
You'll get the bill.
wait, technically, I paid to have Nutmeg Farm get the geese out of the water.
Yeah, come collect it and bring
To
it to.
take them. out
And
of
were
the-
they, so they weren't on Pola properties, they were in the water?
One was at the edge of the water,
One was on First Beach.
yes.
Okay.
One was floating in the water between little, Third Beach and the other side of the cove. Nutmeg Farm, so they had to come out twice that day because I saw one in the morning and then the other one was reported in the afternoon. And they took the geese to their farm and kept them on ice until DEP could come and get them. So technically it cost me $140, cost us.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried about that because we have dead raccoons, we have lots of dead animals, and wildlife dying is part of things. So I just, unless it's a mass thing, I think we should stay out of it.
Well, between the dog
There were two. Yeah, there were.
and actually there was a dead goose that I didn't know about. And when
The dog was an anomaly.
No,
We
and
didn't, we
the
didn't,
dog we don't know was related to.
right.
we
We don't
didn't know.
know the age of it. We don't know anything. So that was a tough call. That was a tough one.
I just thought to err on the side of caution. I had Nutmeg Farms take them and kept them, and they connected with DEP, who sent the tests, whatever they did, to Ohio. To a lab.
Did you say at the annual meeting that something to do with pesticides?
They, the gentleman from DEP told me that his first impression was pesticides. That they
Okay,
don't
but
test
he's-
for that.
they don't, so we don't know it was pesticides.
We just know it wasn't the avian flu.
That's all we know. Okay. That's all they test for, so.
I think pesticides are a big issue in a lot of lakes, so a lot of times they probably kind of come in and go, that's probably what it is, right? So like, maybe it's an assumption, but, because you can't tell how an animal died by looking at it, right? So I think that's just probably what you see a lot of these lakes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Pesticides are
avian
everywhere.
flu is highly contagious, and we do have people with chickens around here, so.
Right. So it's a good idea to get it tested. I washed up on First Beach, you know, that's what
There's
it
three
is.
of them too, right? I mean, there's three
Yes.
of them.
Yeah.
Well, the first one, I didn't find out till after, I guess they called DEP, it was on the other side.
Yeah.
And they told them to.
Yeah, we didn't do
Bag them.
anything with that one. We just did the
No,
two that were
They
ours.
said, bag it and dump it. And then when I found the second one, that full one, I was like, yeah, so we got DEP involved.
All right, any more on geese?
That's what-
Excellent. Lake quality, I left that one there only because I want to mention Corinne would like to step down. If you know anybody, and we
I
did
thought
give,
Lisa Taylor signed up
well,
and John Gill,
she emailed them and copied me. I don't know what she heard back, but I don't know if they're stepping up to be chair. She's going to stay on the committee. We need a chair for lake quality. So if you know anybody that's environmental or,
well, John Gilmore joined. Is he going to be chair?
I don't know.
Okay, well, maybe we should find out. Because he's
I-
signed up too.
Initially, Corinne had mentioned that to me, and then when I sent her the two people from the town hall and she emailed them, I don't even know if she heard back from them.
But John volunteered at the annual meeting, which was August, and the town hall was June or July or whatever it was. So maybe.
I'll reach out to her again.
Why don't we reach out to John?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I'd reach out to.
Well, I don't want to reach out to him if she already did.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't want to step on her. Newsletter is on there. Gary did a great job. I think he'll be back next year. I did ask him, Julie and I talked about this briefly, and we thought maybe sending out a newsletter in, I asked him for December and February, just for a little update on what's going on, and he was on board. So, just thoughts about that. Any questions? All right, properties. So Alex.
I have seconds. If I could have a second, I wanted to mention one thing. Is that possible?
But what's it about, Chris?
After the courts get done, they are going to be locked.
Oh,
Locked
okay.
and the key, it's going to be a key, not a combination lock, until we could decide how to enforce the rules. The courts continue to see kids on bikes, scooters, you name it, dogs. So after we invest this big investment and the courts are done, for one, no one could go on them for 2 weeks. And then after that, we are going to keep them locked until we could get a better understanding of enforcing the signage and the rules.
So
That's all I had to say.
who's gonna have the keys, Chris?
I'll get a few keys made, but at this point, you know, they're going to remain locked, so no one could go on them until the courts are suitable for use, and then we're going to have to discuss it. But
All right, well,
the signs don't work.
Right. No, they don't.
So that's all I wanted to mention, just to make sure everyone knows they're going to be locked, and we're going to discuss maybe a couple different approaches. Maybe keep them locked. Maybe have certain people have a key, maybe have a drop box. I don't know. But to mention that, thanks. Over.
Thank you. Thank you.
Question. Question.
Oh, Julia has a question, Chris.
Hey, Chris, when you go to lock them for the first 2 weeks, we should put a news blast out that they have to, so people aren't freaking out, you know, let's step people into why we're locking them, but let them know that no one can go on the courts for 2 weeks, maybe a news blast or something. So people understand why they're locked, and then say they're gonna, and then ease them into they're gonna remain locked. I think you might get a lot of people if they don't understand why they're locked for the first 2 weeks.
If you want, Chris, if you put like a write-up together, we could, in the news blast, we could put a link to the website. We'll just post something on the website so that it's there public.
Sounds good. I'll do that.
Can I ask you something, Chris? Now
No.
that you've now that you've power washed and you've prepped it, and somebody goes in there with chalk and everything else, so
We'll be power washing again.
well,
So
that's what, would it be prudent to lock it now?
probably. I'll look into locking them tomorrow. So I'll put together a write-up. I'll send it to you and the board, and you guys could tweak it and then send it out to folks. But yeah, probably by Wednesday they should be locked. Yeah, so you saw the colorful, neat artwork that was on the courts. Yeah, so if that happens, then we'll be pressure washing again. I mean, that's easy to come off, the chalk. The job that the team did, team of 12 people, that was a lot of work.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, if it got ruined now, that would be, you know.
Yeah, it's not going to get ruined. I mean, chalk's not going to ruin it. I mean, that would take 5 minutes to get the chalk off. It's not that big of a deal. What would ruin it is after the courts get done and then they get abused.
Right. Well, yes. Okay. All right. So you'll send something out tomorrow?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions about that? We backtracked a little. That's okay. All right. So I'm going to read, somebody say something?
No, I said properties.
Oh.
It was reminding you where we were.
I'm going to read Alex's report because he couldn't be here. This month has been going well overall. The beach rakers have wrapped up their work for the summer, and things are starting to wind down as we transition into the off season. I've continued with some of the regular tasks I've been handling. For example, I helped install some of the new posts for the walkways on the walkway committee, and I also took care of fixing the sign over Little Beach. Yay. I understand that now that the beach rakers are done with their jobs, the trash cans at all 3 beaches aren't being emptied every day. I was informed that I should take the trash cans and store them at First Beach. I can do that, but I also believe the trash cans should remain at the beaches, at least for now. They're still filling up and people are continuing to use them regularly. I don't mind taking care of emptying them myself but with my schedule, I'm only here for a limited amount of time. I think he forgot a word in there, but that's okay. For those who may not be aware, I'm typically here from Saturday at 2 p.m. until Monday morning. Additionally, I can make myself available on Wednesdays if needed for any projects. When it comes to taking care of the boats and the docks and lines, I feel comfortable with the amount of contacts that I have to reach out to asking for help whenever we decide to do the fall cleanup. I also plan on making a sign like we have for the events that go up at First Beach that says something along the lines of "Event Tonight." My sign will state the date and time of the fall cleanup, and for those that pass it every day, it will make them aware and hopefully encourage them to come help.
Constructive.
So that is Alex's report. He is, learning the ropes, but he's learning his ropes. Every property manager, as I even know, just being here for, as long as I've been here, they all do things differently on their own schedule and how they see fit. So Alex is learning that, and he's learning what's important and where all that should go. Anything on properties?
Yes. The poop buckets.
Yep.
I know there's issues whether it's geese or properties. It has been the responsibility to empty the poop buckets of the last 4 property managers. They have done it. And I think I know he's not here now, and luckily there's no geese. When he's not here, if he lets me know, I could probably reach out to some people and have it done. Maybe even, I didn't know about your list until after the fact, so that would be helpful.
I had that list at one of the first meetings after Phil. We had it here, showed everyone the list. It was
Yeah,
at our
I don't,
board meeting.
I'm sorry, I don't remember seeing it, but I do think it needs to be done by the property manager. And if he can't be here, it's the manager's job to delegate.
I think he took several of the weeks and signed up for them. But, our community, we're all volunteers. I mean, he does get a stipend. He gets a small stipend. Everybody here that gets a stipend does way more than what the stipend is worth. I mean, that goes without saying. So essentially we're all volunteers. So if there is a means to engage the community to help, why not? Why not let them sign up for a week? Like, I thought that was excellent.
People were interested. And
Yeah.
I just suggested it comes from the Goose Committee because you guys know when the geese are here, when you need it. I ended it when the beach rakers ended because I didn't know any better. But, and I just took it upon myself to take it over, to step up when we didn't have a property manager. So, but I strongly believe it's a geese committee job, in my opinion.
I talked to all last 3 property managers, and they all said it was their responsibility.
Well, it's
So-
not a goose problem, it's a property problem, because there's poop that needs to be cleaned. Same thing with garbage barrels. It's not, that's a property issue.
I mean, I don't
In my
mind,
opinion, I don't think-
Sundays, I'll
Well,
empty the trash, take
Maybe
across the street as First Beach rep, but
working with Alex and populating that list in the spring or whatever before the geese come, and maybe that would be helpful if each beach rep worked with Alex to find people to empty goose poop or something.
the problem is that
Oh, with
stuff's
what? I'm
heavy.
sorry.
It's heavy.
You don't
Yeah.
have to fill them full. Empty them when they're half.
If
when
they're
half.
emptied, I've done that. I've filled, sometimes you fill up to,
I would
halves.
empty them I would do it when they were half, because to your point, they're heavy.
they're heavy.
And sometimes people let us put more sand in there than poop. I'll tell you that. You're dumping sand and not poop. Because I dumped enough of them this summer. And I will also say all those people that signed up were more than happy. And I think if we just start asking, reach out and ask, people are happy to take 1 week They only had to take 1 week.
But it needs to be every day 1 week. It can't
They do
be.
check it when the beach reps would tell me when they needed dumping. And I would let the person know who was, that week that, hey, they're half full, and then let people get it. We stopped at the end of Labor Day. We stopped, so I didn't know you had to go further.
Well, luckily this year they're gone.
They were gone, but I think it's an easy thing to do. People were happy to help.
Well, if you could share your list with me, I can reach
Yeah,
out.
I think
next
Alex
week,
has it. Alex has it.
Alex has
And
it.
I will work it out with Alex. I mean, the problem is you also have to have, people don't want to put that in the back of their car, so. it's
Well,
I
helpful
found
that
all
have a
people with
truck.
trucks.
They were all
That's what I
people,
did.
yeah.
I solicited
Yeah, I was
everybody.
just gonna
with
ask that.
truck.
You gotta get a truck.
Yeah.
You wanna put in your back of your car.
And it was
No.
like, enough. Craig's got a truck. I have a
Whoa, whoa,
truck.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Chris had a truck. I mean, it was very easy to go, who has trucks? And, you could do a week. It'd be easy enough. And you don't have to, and honestly, I did it enough.
Not here
weeks.
during the week.
You
So a
don't
lot
have
of
to
people
do
aren't
it.
here during the week.
I understand that, but I did it enough that it wasn't ever, you didn't have to do it every day. It was like, if you did it on Sunday,
Right, but it's hit or miss. Because you can go through a streak where it's every day.
no, it was never every day.
Not this year, but
not
I'm
this
saying
year.
we
I
only
was-
had 30 geese.
Okay, I'm just saying, and with Evelyn's efforts, we won't have many. So
It's a good
I'm
point.
optimistic.
All right.
I feel like let's try it. It worked
All
well
right,
here.
so
Let's
work with Alex
try it.
and get
I
the
will
list.
give it a shot. I will work with Alex.
I think that's
It's a
I
good
think
idea.
It's,
People
our
more-
objective
at
is to
one
get
point-
more people in the community involved in volunteering.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect, some people just want a task to do. A couple of people we talked to, during the whole, period when there wasn't a property manager, they said, well, what's on the list? What, can I just do one or two things? So they want to get involved, but they don't want to be the property manager. They don't want the task of doing so this is one of them. I think it's great.
I will work with Alex.
And he's pretty good about it too, but his availability when he's back in school is different. But remember, we haven't always had a property manager throughout the winter, and now we will. So
Yeah, but most property managers are here
Gary Peterson wasn't.
during the week.
He was working. Gary Peterson was
Yeah.
working.
He
Right.
was
He
here at
wasn't.
night. He was here on weekends.
right.
He was here. he
And
would
Alex-
commute from here.
Yeah, I mean, and Alex can be, but I don't know.
I think he's learning his ropes. I think we give him that time to do that.
So Evelyn will work with Alex and get the list going for next year.
Yes.
Okay.
Let him work out his contacts and what he does. I think every little thing, if there's a sign down, get a freaking hammer and hammer it back up. I mean, everything doesn't have to go to Alex because he's the property manager. We all can do things. I have no problem with that. We're all here. We're all members. Anyway. Okay, I digress.
I have one more thing. You mentioned the swimming ropes. Does he know when he's taking those down?
So we've already had a discussion that they usually come out after Labor Day or a week or two after Labor Day. However, this weekend, there was a lot of people using the
It's
beach.
beautiful.
Yes. So I do believe he has a plan in the next week or two to pull those.
Okay, because I need to take that goose fence down
Okay. Well, before he goes out there, right? For the swim
because
lanes.
it got trashed last year. when I
Right.
brought the
Well,
swim
and they're
back in.
gone now anyways, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I will take it down this week.
Okay.
I will get somebody to help.
Okay. That's properties. Public Works. I haven't heard anything from John Sokolowski. I will reach out to him because I'm guessing that they said after Labor Day that whole stretch of that water
Oh, yeah.
company was going to start. I would like to see if he's got a better date for us or something, some idea of where that stands.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had one more thing on properties. The lawnmower, the other lawnmower that's down there, we pushed it back.
It's gone.
It's gone.
We
It was
moved it.
two.
We got rid of the one that was left
It was
on Saturday.
two.
The other one is Mr. Bailey's or Mr.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so we,
He took that a while ago,
He
right?
took that,
oh, it's there.
No,
Well,
it
then it
was,
just
that's
showed
the one
back
I was
up.
referring to in the email. It was sitting in the middle of the lawn. So we moved it back to the wall this weekend.
Is that the one Alex said he was driving and it broke down? Remember he said to us, he had it? and
Yeah,
it
but
broke
that's the
down?
one we just moved to third. Are you sure? We moved.
There's
one.
No, the red one is not.
They're both
So-
red.
The red
One's
one,
orange and one's red.
One-
the orange
Yeah, they're
one
both
is
there.
Takula's. The red one is Keith's. I think it's a Craftsman.
Oh,
It's not.
It was
Keith's,
not
it's
Keith's.
Mr.
It's
Mr.
Ken.
Right,
It's Ken's, my next door
Right,
neighbor.
yeah.
I'll talk to Keith.
He was
No.
supposed to take it back
Yeah.
to him or something
okay.
because it wasn't being used. All right.
And he knew that. We talked,
We
yeah.
did, yeah,
Yeah.
but the point is, it is still there, and the one that was taken away is down by the
Golf
container.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It just
Okay.
bugged me because it was sitting in the middle of the grass.
So
Yeah,
Craig,
you
you're
just
gonna-
pushed it back. I'll
you're-
talk to Keith, yeah.
Okay,
I'll-
thank you.
Sorry, I'm done.
It's probably sitting there and it died again. That Mr. Bailey's or whatever,
Yeah.
it dies after you can't run it more than 20 minutes. It dies.
It's weird.
Okay, public safety, so in order to get anything done in the spring, as far as the parking lots go and the towing and all the stuff we've been talking about, we need to get, and, perhaps not initially, it'll be aesthetic, but, we need to have a sign that's when you enter First Beach parking lot, you have to pass the sign. So you know how there's in the walkway that goes from the parking lot to the pavilion, there's that one that says state law, you know, the crosswalks. That holding thing, we could put one in the center so that you drive to the right when you drive in and you come out to the left. Same thing with Second Beach. And I don't know how we would do that
There's no
one.
way to do that
Yeah.
because it's straight in. all
Unless
that's straight
they're-
in.
Which sucks to put, you know, whatever, but there has to be something there. But First Beach anyways, I think we can put one of those just till we come up with something else aesthetic.
Mhm.
But at least that can help resolve the fact that you don't see this sign when you first drive in. And that's part of, what we talked to Dave Burton about. And he said, they could say, we didn't see that sign.
Right.
So we're gonna make sure that they do see it if we want to go forward with any kind of security or enforcement or what have you. But I just wanted everybody's thought on that.
Is that gonna happen next year? Sorry.
So,
I just have a quick question, regarding enforcement of it all. I mean, we talked about possibility of towing. I know I know of another beach association in the taxi district that actually can give a ticket. So how are we going to enforce it?
so we're getting to that.
Okay, perfect. Because all these plans and signs are great.
Right.
And then when you're in violation, what's the next
This
step?
was the segue.
Go right ahead.
So when you mentioned the sign at the threshold is what Dave called it, right?
Yes.
So were we just gonna put a concrete bucket there? Or well, how are we gonna do that? Are we gonna put a big planter or how do we?
So that's what I was just explaining. You know, the thing that,
That's
where
what
the
I missed
cross,
that part, that's what I'm asking.
oh, okay.
It's
But
like
where
a
the
weighted thing.
where the crosswalk is going from the parking lot into the pavilion, in the center, there's a big sign that
Okay.
says crosswalk state law stop. And it's put into, I think it's called a husky or a hungy.
It's like that big black thing.
It's a big black thing.
braided thing.
So until we come up with something aesthetic, that would work.
Okay, I got you. I didn't hear you say that. That's why I asked.
So what does everybody think about that?
Is it gonna happen like now or is it like a seasonal thing?
Well,
So, like-
it's, obviously we'd have to get it ordered and get it, the right sign made and everything, but I think it's an effort we need to do before the spring comes.
Does this come out of property's budget?
Properties are public safety.
Public safety.
So, what does everybody think?
I like it.
Enforcement.
Did you hear that, Chris? Are you still eating nuts?
I'm on the ice cream now.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
man.
All right. So,
I did hear it. I think we need to do something. So yeah, I'm willing to look at options for sure.
all right.
That was the first step, you said.
Yeah,
Right,
this
for
is
us
just
to do that.
initially just to get it there so that we can start doing something.
And then we need to communicate to the association that this is what's gonna happen and this is the
Right.
Okay.
consequence for it. Communication.
So if we can zip through all these other things, then we can get to that, Jeff. So that's all I had to say about public safety, was just that the signs in the parking lots. What do you gotta,
She doesn't care about football.
right?
I know, sorry. So signs. When you come into the lake, I'd asked this, I don't know, last year and it kind of got dropped. We need something on that
A private community.
Lake Hayward, that end of the lake and the other end of the lake that says private. People are walking in.
I think about that all the time. Every time I drive by it.
People are walking in.
The only
Right past
problem
my
is,
house.
the only problem is the road is not private. That's
Right.
a town road.
Right.
But we
but-
are, but it says, welcome to Lake Hayward, and it should say, without being snotty,
A private community.
private community, members only, something. We need to bring that.
I'll ask-
Especially, we've
you know
got
what?
the 10 houses coming in over there. You got condos at the other end that are gonna be built.
I'll ask Michelle Velez, I'll send her an email and ask her what her thought is, because also, there's also a couple of no parking signs that are like, they look like this. You can't even read them. So I'm gonna ask her to change those out. Because there's some on blind corners and you can't even read the sign. So, but anyway, I will ask Michelle, because it is a town road. She's the director of public works.
Right, but he had his hand up first.
I
Yes.
beat him by about 20 seconds.
No, I'm trying to be respectful here.
Football.
I'm turning over a new leaf.
It's a simple fix if we wanted to put, I don't think we should get the town involved. I mean,
Yes, exactly.
let's not make this a big deal.
Exactly right.
I would just get a thing that says private property or private community, whatever you want to do, and you just screw it onto the posts that are already there.
Yeah, so we need to talk.
And let somebody yell at us. We'll deal with it when it happens. Denise?
Yeah.
That's
That's
the way-
what I'm asking.
Right. Deal with it when it happens.
I don't see the need for a sign anywhere than where we have a right to tell people no. So I think the signs in the parking lots, on the beaches, whatever we're going to do for enforcement, that's where we should invest our money. Because putting it at the end of the road here and the end of the road in the neighborhood there, it's just, I don't like it. It is a public town road.
But it's a
people-
private community. And if we're talking about from a public safety standpoint, we have people who are coming in, who are using our amenities without being members of the community. Yes, we have it posted, members, association only or whatever, but I don't see any harm in saying a private community.
But that's not going to help us when we do have litigation. If there is a hearing process and litigation, what's going to help us is what's on the sand, what's in the parking lot.
Right, what we're talking about.
Everyone is entitled to use this water in the state of Connecticut.
But not off our
And
beach.
the road.
Right.
Well, right,
So
because
if
it's not our
we
road.
invest where we do own property,
Excuse
then that is going to help us with litigation. Sign down at the north end and the south end of the lake is not going to help us
Okay.
with litigation.
Fair point. I don't think that it's about litigation. I think it's
Okay.
just about awareness. And
Right,
you're
I
getting
agree.
people.
Okay.
Evelyn brings up a tremendously good point. There's 10 houses being built by Lake Hayward. What are they called? Lake Hayward Properties or
Lake Hayward
whatever.
Preserve.
Preserve. And
11.
then there's 11. And then there's the 196 units or whatever that are going up in the next few years. So we're gonna see a lot more, and the more awareness that we have, the better. That's it. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I don't think it's about litigation. It's
We're
really
not
just about
telling people to
awareness.
turn around. We just want people to know.
Right.
I mean, what do they do at condo associations? You can't just drive in and drive around.
You can't
right?
have,
Yes,
you can't have people not walk the state road and
It's
all
It's
of
not
our
about
roads.
walking.
No,
It's
she said they're walking in.
Walking
She's having
by my
people turn
house.
around. You can't ask them to turn around. They're freaking on the state road. They're on these are all town roads.
That's not what she said. She said people are walking in and
said
then
yes.
use.
And they live
Okay, time.
on Lake Hayward Road.
Lisa's had her hand up.
So
A long time.
Yes.
I do think it's about litigation, and I think I don't see the harm in putting that on either sign based on what Dave Burton had said. So we have to have some kind of signage, otherwise we can't stop some of this. All of that said, it is a town road. So just like people that come in and park on the side of the road because they know they don't have a hang tag, so they don't park in the parking lots. So they're just parking on the side of the road. I don't know what we can do about that. Right? So then that goes back to, I think, Dave Burton, and I think I'd like to have him weigh in to see what he thinks. He was very specific about signage and
Yes.
communication.
Yes.
And so I think it's a good idea to put that on either side, and then also increase all of our signage at the same time that we are communicating to the community what we're doing and what the ramifications, like Jeff is looking for, when that's breached.
So, oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I lost my train of thought. What the hell happened to my brain? I'm sorry.
That's what, yeah.
The
Some
signage,
peanuts.
I know, maybe that would help. I'm so sorry, you guys. The signage, oh, somebody
Litigation.
mentioned lanyards. I think we're gonna get to the point,
Yes.
was it you? Maybe that people are gonna have to have a lanyard because they're, to your point, they're parking everywhere and they're walking
Right.
in. So if you don't have a lanyard and you're on our tennis courts, basketball courts, beaches,
Right.
parking lot, I think that's the only way you're gonna be able to police it.
Right.
I think it's.
We-
did you bring
we've
that
all
up
been-
before?
we've all
But
been-
I just mentioned a lot of beaches in
Yeah.
the Saybrook area.
Right.
They have.
And you have some kind of laminated ID.
That's what they have at Lake Anston. They have the laminated IDs, and they have someone that comes on the beaches, the two beaches.
So you're supposed to
And
just swim with a
controls.
lanyard around your neck? I mean, that's.
So
No, you
no,
put it in your beach
no,
bag
you
or.
have in your bag. So he literally checks everyone that's on the
Yeah.
sand. Do you have your card? So people see them come and they go in the water.
Poor
But
life.
Brandon.
So, but that's on the, that is on the docket because here was the other thing I said to Julia. So I don't know how or whatever I did, but I think I threw away all my hang tags. Okay. So I had to pay for new ones. And I said to, Carolyn, who manages the hang tags, I said, Carolyn, I said, could you please cancel my other numbers and give me 4 new ones? Well, how do I know some Joe Schmo doesn't have my old ones and they're using them? I thought about that afterwards. I'm like, well, I asked her to cancel them, but she knows what numbers aren't good. We don't know what.
Right.
What are we gonna do? Keep a list of numbers?
Yeah, they just
So so the ID thing comes back to the hang tag thing, you know?
You can
Anyway,
have both too.
that's what, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
To that point, I've seen a van and a truck driving around with the green hang tags, which are no longer
Those
in
are-
effect,
I have
but
those.
somebody still got them on their, the
Right.
green ones up.
Yeah, so that, and that doesn't work. So, all right. So we're all on the same page. We need to do,
Pool passes, that's the word I was looking for.
We-
the lanyards.
we
Pool
need to do
pass.
something.
Where's your pool pass?
Yeah, that's
I
really
get
what
it.
it is.
water testing. Evelyn, I think you're done,
I
right?
am done.
Awesome. Okay, moving on. Webmaster.
I'm still planning on the off season. I've got my ideas of columns and things that I'll share it with you when we
Okay.
finally get to it. But like, it's an off season project.
Right. And as we know, I'm a little more flexible than you. So let me know when you have time. We can do that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I will be getting together with Jan DePrati to update the water testing documents from 2018.
Evelyn, we've moved on from water
I
testing.
know, I'm just saying.
Although rightfully so, I didn't even give her a chance. I zipped right over it. I'm like, it's over. Right?
Next.
So, okay.
Big guy.
Bylaws, well, they're on the website now. And they're on the drive. Which we don't need to talk about. Budget, damn. Events, nominating, playground. The only thing I want to say about that is that,
Go ahead. Do you want to say something? No, I have something. to
yeah,
say.
so John Allegra did look at the posts. He said he'd give an estimate and he said as a side note, and I'm saying this, but it hasn't come to fruition. He said, I'll probably do it for free because I told him they want to use it for scrap metal and so forth. And so he's gonna do that. But he's gonna give us pricing.
So I have a report from John. on
So,
that.
yes.
He is going to donate his time to do that. He thinks this weekend. And I said, if you need help in any way, if you need manpower, let us know and we'll get people to come assist you. He's kind of a solo kind of guy. I don't know if he'll take us up on it, but he said, he would do that.
He knew that the playground
Sure.
committee wanted to
Yeah.
use it for scrap. I said, they're probably gonna get $50, but, you know, and he said,
Not
okay, I'll, you know.
Yeah. So,
We would just be in his way.
Yeah.
So that was playground, walkway.
okay, so walkway, so John Allegra met with John on Sunday and to look at the 33 Ridgewood one that goes up to Lookout. And there's some slope issues there in our 10 feet, and he's going to think about that and let us know. He thinks probably a typical one of his typical, the most cost-effective thing is one of those big boulder walls, but not meatballs, skinny kind of guys. And then because it's maybe this high, the slip
It
difference
slopes.
or it could be this high or a little higher. And maybe then we put like a split rail fence as a safety thing so people aren't falling off into Tina and Paul's yard. So it's just, I had him look at it. I don't know costs. I don't know anything, but those are his initial ideas.
Which one is this? 33 what?
33 Ridgewood up to Lookout.
Okay.
It's the one that's been so overgrown
Yeah,
for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and there's some
Is that the one next
trees.
to the big yellow house?
Yeah. And I have to get Kenny back out because there's some major trees in there and just to see what it would cost to get those out. And he looked at Little Beach as well. There's an erosion issue at Little Beach. John Allegra did. And there's a lot of, it's full of poison ivy, but in there is a berm that's been built with landscaping, timbers, and this berm swale, whatever, it's all wrong because it's directing all the water to erode Third Beach. So John is going to give us an estimate to restructure, use the materials there, fix it, and redivert the water, and then fill in, regrade it.
You said Third Beach or Little Beach?
Little Beach.
I said Third.
No, you said
You
Little
said them
Beach.
both.
Oh.
You said Little, and then you said Third. That's
Oh,
why I was asking.
I'm sorry, Little Beach.
When he does that, Julia, can you make sure he writes on the invoice erosion?
I know for the reimbursement. Yeah,
Is there a legitimate parking spot at Little Beach?
there it is. Well, I mean,
For
One.
Cola or for a homeowner?
Polo property.
it's full of,
Right.
yeah, so anyone with a hand.
There is
can
one.
park.
Yes.
Well, it's property. I don't know if you can pull over on the side of the road. It's property. I wouldn't say it's designated a parking space.
Okay, just
It
one.
doesn't
Right.
say no park. It doesn't say no parking.
Not like
Okay.
the parking lots.
Right.
Right, right.
Right. There is, because I parked there a lot.
Okay.
I've been doing work there.
But there's only like one spot.
Yeah,
in Little
one.
Beach. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there may be one toward the back of you could probably pull over where the other, on the back end of the roads.
Yeah, yeah.
We in the
Okay.
third quarter yet?
Just curious.
No, just started. All right. So anything else on the walkways? Julia, it's been amazing, John.
Yeah, they look great.
Thanks.
Yeah. I
Oh,
do.
thanks.
I saw the post at,
I know, little.
yeah, Upper Little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love to, I'm sorry.
No,
That was
go ahead.
just so rude.
I was just, it
I'm
was,
gonna talk right over you.
Welcome to my world.
I love to see, what did you call them, that, like the the fencing that. you
Post
put-
and
The
ramp?
post and then the
Post it.
rails and the end post.
Because it's, you know that's a walkway.
When we're working on them,
And I don't,
we're getting a lot of people complimenting the work
Yeah.
and saying, we didn't even know these were here. And
Exactly.
now more people are using them and walking.
Yep.
They've told me that they're getting their kayaks down that way. So I'm glad we're reclaiming.
Nice
those.
job.
yes.
Well, it's the committee and Alex has been helping and a lot of people have been helping.
yeah, but you've been like Wonder Woman out there.
Yeah.
Are those pictures in the newsletter? Were those in the
We
newsletter?
had
If not,
one
you
in,
should.
and then one, I do have another picture of one and this last one we did, but it's gonna have to be.
But maybe this will be the
yeah.
December one.
December, yeah.
That would be good.
We did have an early one in July, I think. That's it. Thanks.
Get anything, Chris? Okay,
Still eating.
all right. Here we go, Jeff. Unfinished business. Rules and regs and fee schedule. So we talked to Dave Burton, and Dave Burton, and I think Chris did this for the pickleball courts and so forth. So Dave Burton said, you know, we need to do this fee schedule, and for each violation, we have a relative, you know, set of warnings, and then, you know,
Mhm.
$25. So when I talked to Adam, our attorney, he said it's more of a general approach when you have a fee schedule. And he said, and it's a very common way of doing it. So, so typically, if we want to find somebody, or if somebody's in violation, right? We as a board decide, yes, that was a violation. We send them a letter saying, you know, obviously the first one's, you know, we'll come up with it, but generically. So the first violation of the rules and regs is a warning. We're letting you know we're warning. The second one, maybe that's a warning. The third one is you got a $50 fine. If you
Right.
choose to show up for a hearing, the hearing is not with an appellate. It is with the Board of Governors.
Okay.
The Board of Governors are the judge, jury, and prosecutor. So we will hear whoever we find. If they don't show up, they pay the fine. They forfeit. If they show up and they want to contest, fine. But then we vote on whether we feel that that's still enforceable and why. So they basically get like a hearing.
At the next board meeting?
Um,
Well, because
Whatever we decide, however we decide to go forth with this.
That's not us.
I guess why I don't follow you is, okay, so we find the guy, he doesn't show up, he does show up, he's guilty, you gotta pay $50, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what if he doesn't pay $50?
Okay,
That's the next, right?
okay.
excellent.
So here's what, so ultimately we're looking for like the really,
The honest idiot,
the
Right.
honest idiot, but the real serious violators, right?
right?
So $50, we're letting you know we're watching, we're not happy, you're fined. Well, if you keep doing the violation and you're up to $500, well, now we're gonna take you to court and we're gonna put a lien on your house.
At 500 though?
The flip
So
to this
then,
though.
so then the, I'm sorry.
Right.
No, you.
Well, the flip to this though is if you have a car, here we go into the parking lot now.
Yep.
That doesn't have a tag.
Yep.
And we can't run the reg,
Right,
okay? So someone from Danbury that's down, how do we even begin to send them a fine? It's unenforceable,
right.
right?
But,
So-
but then you told
Which,
Well, no, I'm just, that's what we're discussing, the
Right.
options. So if it's a car we don't even know,
so
right,
I think it's gonna be a process, right? I
Right.
mean, we've never done this.
them. Right.
So it's a process and we're learning now. We're in the learning stages. But it's something that we really don't want people's money. We really don't want to have to offer fines, but for our means to enforce,
right. But just a quick follow-up, that's why a lot of the beaches in Old Saybrook, Westbrook, Clinton, they have the kid in the lawn chair that sits right by the parking lot and they check for tags. That's what
right?
they do.
But, and so this, right.
And it works. Trust me, it works. The Clinton Town Beach does it, the Westbrook Town Beach, they all do it.
But the difference here, I think, is that that's a much bigger community and they can hire a kid to sit there. We're not gonna
No,
hire.
they have 400
Right.
homes, right? They're just like us.
Right,
You know, for the private beaches,
right.
they have 400 homes. It's not 4,000.
So
So-
then we get into the, all right, we hire someone to sit at First Beach.
About second.
Do they tow? Do they, what do they do? Oh, well, you can't be here. Well, the heck with you. I'm gonna be
Well,
here.
but then, you're
Right.
right. There's always steps, but what I'm trying to say is that at least you can ward it off and hopefully the honest
Right.
crook will leave if the
So-
kid says it.
And I think some of the findings we're talking about are other things too, not just the parking. There's, I mean, look at the rules and regs. They're old.
Right.
They're old, but, we're gonna be moving into this is segueing into the rental,
Right.
and the rules and regs.
You
So,
first.
No, you're here.
No, it was you first.
Oh, didn't Dave Burton say that he could enforce, I mean,
he said he could be the appellate, which is basically who hears, right? Does the hearing. But Adam said, no, it is the Board of Governors that needs
but
to
as a
do that.
police officer, didn't he say he could put the lights on some people and?
Yeah, though he was
Didn't he say-
talking like, trust me, if I get involved, they ain't gonna do it again. I mean, that was, I think. he was
Oh,
just
that's what
being-
he said. Okay.
Right, he was being enforceable.
Right, exactly.
Right.
All right.
So you said like, a $50 fine here. We send them a warning. They get 2 warnings, then they get a $50 fine.
Or whatever,
Then they could come to, for example, a board meeting and they could appeal, and we could say, all right, go forth and sin no more. Or we could say, no, dude, you got to pay the fine. And then you said we're not putting a lien on it until it's $500. So what would stop me from breaking the rules for 10 times and just,
So one, we do not have the authority to put a lien on somebody's house. Our charter does not give us that authority. But what it does give us, after $500, and this was the number Adam gave me.
Okay.
And this was the number he said would make it worth it. You take them to civil court, the judge fines for us, the lien goes on their house. And they pay all the legal fees.
okay.
I like it. I just don't know how we're gonna get to there.
Right.
Like, what is the infrastructure we have to have in place in order to get
Get
there?
Right.
So how are we gonna identify these folks to just point to send the letter?
Agreed.
Who's gonna be the one that says, who are you? I've never seen you here before, or whatever. What's your address? Because I need to send you a letter. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yes.
I mean, what
Yeah,
does that process
So,
look like?
so I think it's what you said, Lisa, a
Yeah.
process. Do we decide to go with the ID cards?
Yeah.
Do we decide
And
to,
if we do, then who's gonna patrol the ID cards?
well,
mean,
it
is
could
that
be,
The beach reps?
it-
Is that the reps? up
Yeah,
there?
I'm
good
under
luck
my
with that.
umbrella.
well, and
You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
it
I
could
mean,
be, it could be me walking by the tennis court, seeing people in there and just saying, hey, do you belong here? And them having to show me their ID. Oh, okay, you're great.
So there's a couple of things that are just kind of rattling around my head here. Like, who's going to be the tattletale and start telling on our neighbors? And then what's that going to do for your relationship with other people if you're known as the person who comes up to the tennis courts every time and says, hey, I know you, hey, do you belong here? Because then you're just known as that person who's looking for, I don't know.
$50.
Yeah, looking to, it's like the narc in high school, the person who told on everybody. Nobody wants to be, I'm not going to be that person.
Well,
But if I see egregious behavior,
right.
that's different. And I think and then the second point was, the cars and the Danbury example.
No.
You know how we're going to find them? We're just going to tow their car.
Right.
Because it's posted, and if you don't have a tag, you get towed. If we know that it's Julia's truck down there, then we'll call Julia and be like, dude, you forgot your tag. Dude, sorry.
I'm sorry to do that.
You forgot your tag, right? But like, if we know the person, we're not going to tow them. But if we don't know the car and we make a reasonable effort, that's how we're going to find out. And then it's not on us, it's on them to pay the impound lot to get their car out.
Yep. And once that car's on the hook,
Yeah, it's gone.
they're going.
And I think that'll help with the parking lots, but it's not gonna help with the people that are parking up and down the street, like this up and down,
Right.
like Hayward. Grove
And,
Road.
and
Yeah, but
Dave,
there's not a lot you can do about that. I mean,
so Dave said we
That's where
could,
Can we walk over to them?
he said,
true.
well, yes, that we can do. He said, but we could start yellow. We could start yellowing curbs. He goes, but you don't want to go down that road. Because then you really get into a lot of,
What does that mean, yellowing the
No
curbs?
parking
No
zones.
parking.
no parking
Uh,
is when when you see a yellow curb, it means.
Yeah, but that means, I keep saying these vehicles, but they could be in the homes that are right there. I don't know that. I
Right.
don't know
So
that.
he said, don't go down that
Yeah.
road.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
one particular person on Wildwood that's always parking in the street. 4 or 5 cars. The
Didn't he
guy we're
say-
talking about who's gonna be the appellate.
Didn't he say if it's a safety issue, the fire engines can't get by, then we could call the police?
No,
Because those
he said
cars are
that they,
there.
he said the fire trucks will have them, move them out of the way or have them towed right away.
So you gotta wait for a fire and fire truck to come by.
Of course.
There's
Before we
also,
can do anything about the cars that parked on like Hayward
but there's,
Railroad.
there's also a difference between me inviting 10 of my friends over and them showing up in 5 vehicles parked in front of my house, and we all walk down to the beach together because they're my guests,
Right.
versus people parking up on the street and not knowing the people who they're parking in front of and walking down But you don't know that until you see it.
But if they had an ID
If they're the
and
landlord.
somebody said to them,
Yeah.
hey, you don't look
Understand.
familiar.
Yeah, but what about my guests?
People
What if I
just
have
put a
my,
hand
what if I
on
have my
their heart.
aunt come in?
Well, they're gonna
and-
be with you.
Give her
No,
your
but what if I'm
lanyard.
not here?
You give your lanyard, leave your lanyard in your cottage.
Right.
And I brought that up saying if we're gonna police any road, we
Yeah.
should police them all. You know, it's that, I didn't bring that up because, yeah, he can have his friends over for Sunday dinner, of
Yeah.
course.
No, what I'm saying is if we're gonna approach people and, you know, you just.
I think we need to
That's
talk
I-
about
yeah.
the process.
Yeah, I
That
think
process
this is
way.
good discussion, but I think there's a lot of hurdles that we're gonna
There
have.
are.
Someone representing it, like if you couldn't be there, someone from your ownership of the home would have the lanyard
Right.
and would represent those 4 other guests.
Yes.
Yep.
That's how
Yes.
it works at
Yeah.
the other beaches.
Yes.
Yeah, but if I'm not there and my guests are using my house for a week,
You
They
need
use
your
the
lanyard
lanyard
in
then
your
they
house.
have the lanyard.
And these
Yeah.
are,
It doesn't
they're
have your
part of the
picture.
package.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one
That makes
thing I
sense.
do have, let me discuss the elephant in the room, okay? We have no parking over by the wall. And Phil, for the last many times, is parking his freaking truck there. He knows that it's a faded sign of a no parking sign that looks like that, okay?
That looks like
That
this.
you held up that, right. But you can read it. He knows the rules. I don't know if he's being defiant, but if we can't even have people obeying the laws and our rules and regulations with our own, not to mention a former property manager, that's a kick in the teeth. And I don't like that.
What wall?
I,
Stone
What wall?
wall.
Right by the wall, he parks his truck right there. When he
There are
comes
no
down to
parking
the
signs there.
beach, it's not an unload and unload. I see them all the time. I don't go to the beach, but I walk by there 3-4 times a day.
I
And
do
you
too,
see it.
Jeff. I
Yeah,
do
you don't have
too.
to say anything. Fred.
I'm actually, so I
And it's not right.
I have pictures of the no parking anytime. I'm going to have those signs replaced by the town.
Right, but the point is, we can put fresh new signs up, and then we're gonna start with someone who's, this is
Okay,
my opinion.
You're
being
gonna have to
defiant.
walk up to Phil and say, move your truck.
Right. And if he doesn't move the truck, then we do what?
We
Then we get into
we haven't
the- then we get
decided
into
till we get
the
the fee
enforcement.
schedule. Yeah, but we
Right.
can harass them.
so I just want to let people know that it's not necessarily from outside, it's from within too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's not
Yes.
forget that.
We got people parking on the grass over by the parking lot all the time too. On First.
Well, I mean, but okay, so you have an event and everybody
That's
parks on
different.
the.
And
I-
I see that as different versus,
It is different.
Well,
That
if there's
parking
doesn't-
on the
parking
wall.
spaces and you're parking on the
Parking-
grass, that's kind of
That's
lame.
different. If people park
Yeah.
on the grass when we have
That's
an
lame.
event and. we
Yeah.
have
Right.
parking spaces,
That's just lame.
like-
That's just being a,
He's there all the time when there's plenty of parking spaces because he doesn't want to park and walk over. It's convenient.
but this is good discussion and it's a good start. It is.
it all boils down to enforcement.
It really does.
Right
And
or
that's,
wrong.
and that's
What
what
is
we're
that
working on. So I think we're all kind of in favor of the
Mhm.
lanyard ID tag. So with the new hang tags coming up in 26, I think that's something that we need to maybe invoke in 25 if we can,
Right.
the IDs. All right, so and we already talked about the signage for first and second beach parking lots. So I can look and see if we can get one of those things. I don't know, that's in the crosswalk.
Oh.
And then second beach will, I don't know, we'll have to
The
figure
second beach
something
is
out.
not gonna work. You're gonna have to put the sign as they walk to the beach.
Yeah, you can't put anything
You
on the
can't- there's no-
threshold there.
There's nothing in the threshold.
What
for second
about
beach.
the,
Lori, that's like 150 feet
I
long.
know,
It's
I
not
know.
gonna work.
so maybe if I ask Dave how,
Okay.
One every other spot or something, that's just gonna look
That's-
like.
it's gonna look like hell, I
Yeah.
know.
No,
Um,
he said you cross the threshold. They park the car. Where are they going? They're either gonna play volleyball or they're gonna go down to the beach.
So what about one sign where the boat launch is, because that boat launch is not public, and then another sign where you walk down to the beach?
And what would the sign say? You know, I mean, that
It's a
would
private
say,
Community, like he said, he gave
Oh,
us all that
okay.
stuff that he, said,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, well, there's isn't there a big sign in front of that
It does,
tree?
yeah, it
It
does
does
say
say
private
that,
community.
right? But it's
but
only
it's
one
not,
sign.
right, and you could say, oh, I didn't see that.
Sign.
So we
Okay.
have to make sure the person was able to see the
Walk
sign.
by it.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
think the only thing to do is I think that's a great idea, is put it on both sides.
So first beach is
But how big
easy.
of a sign, and then, it's,
Yeah, like the one that's where the driveway walkway is gonna have to be right in the middle of the grass kind of there
Which
where,
is sad because we
Yeah.
actually drive there.
Yeah,
to
you
do- I
can't
don't
do
think we
that.
should do that.
Yeah.
No,
because
but
we
it could
need
be to the right
It has to-
of
because
where
we
you
actually-
drive when you're going in.
Because people actually use, like when we pull poop buckets when they're heavy,
Yeah.
we're not walking from there.
Yeah.
We're driving down and we're picking them up.
And
taking them
Third
out.
Beach needs the same thing that First Beach needs, is when you're driving in Third Beach parking.
There are two entrances, aren't there?
No, there's
there's
just one
one.
big one.
One big
So
one.
if we put that in the center, like we're gonna put on First Beach, that'll work. Cause you gotta drive by it.
It's also a small, yeah, I mean, logistics, you have to look at it, but I agree.
Yeah,
It's just having a post there in this, you know what I mean?
no, it's that big black thing.
Wobbly thing.
Yeah. But it'll serve the purpose for now till we figure
Right.
out something
Okay,
aesthetically.
8:40 something.
Oh, man, first quarter, second quarter, maybe, first quarter.
I have
Okay.
no idea. I don't watch the football.
Yeah, smart.
Okay, I think, anything else for the signage? Cause I think we're all on the same page.
Right.
Okay, so I'll look into what it costs to get those things.
Okay.
Unless somebody else wants to do it.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to do it?
You know, when you volunteer for something and then you ask somebody
Nah.
else if they want it, you kind of already bit the bullet, so.
Yeah.
Ipso facto.
So you're in there.
Noted, noted.
Sorry.
Duly noted.
Okay, I think it's called the Husky era, something like that. Okay, so new business is, and we've been talking about this, I think, for quite a while, job description, creation, review and update over the winter. If you do a job, water testing, come up with a job description. Geese committee. What does your committee do? All of them.
Right.
I don't know yet.
There's, and there's some already, like there's one for the secretary, which, Lisa's gonna sit down and look at. Lynn did one already. I think we need to have them, some are on the drive and they're under secretary. And I think everybody has access to secretary.
So you're not talking about doing a job description for a rep? Is it?
No.
Because that's,
I think a job description for
okay.
a beach rep. And I think the community gets confused with, well, I thought you were on the board. Well, you are, but you're a beach rep on the board. So I think that's always been a confusion with people. So when they want to know what a beach rep does, I mean, maybe we have one generic statement on, on what a
Okay.
beach rep does.
Okay, that sounds good.
Who wants to do that one?
Oh my
I
god.
was zoned out. I didn't even hear you.
You can use that.
Honesty is a word with this guy.
I'm sorry.
Beach rep
Beach-
job description.
Beach rep job description.
Come on, Jeff, you
And
can.
how
Yeah,
Shake hands
And
and kiss
how does that
babies. Well, I
differ
don't
from
understand.
I don't
a large
understand.
job
Yeah, I'm sorry.
description?
So somebody thinks we have to have a job, so confused as to what a first beach rep does?
Beach rep is your go-to guy if you live in there, if you're in
Yeah.
there.
You'd be
Well,
surprised how
No,
many
I know,
people
but like,
ask.
it doesn't have to be
I don't
anything
think
more than.
so. I don't
what
think you
Jeff
need a
said.
beach rep description.
I
That's
agree.
ridiculous.
Yeah, what's my, so when we met that neighbor, remember when we were down by the pavilion, we met the neighbor that bought the house next to the pavilion?
Yeah.
And we just said, hey, look, we're your beach rep 1 and beach rep 2. What does that mean? That means
Yeah,
you got an
any
issue, come to me. Any questions,
Right.
come to us.
Simple.
I mean,
Right.
that's it.
And I think that's, so you're a representative,
You're the go-to person.
right?
Says it in the
You don't
name.
need a job description for that.
No,
You need it for property manager and your
Right.
tax collector and your treasurer and the things like that.
I agree with you.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
So
Keep it
maybe
simple. I
it's just
think
a
we're just-
communication. in
I'm
the
just telling you what
newsletter
I've
to say.
heard, people
I'll
asking.
talk to him. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I think this is getting nuts. Like, and I know the budget committee wants job descriptions. It's getting crazy. Like, I'm feeling like I'm working at my corporate job again, and I don't want that.
Bingo.
I'm too much. I've had to create policies, and
Okay.
I'm like, what? No. Like,
Proofread contracts. I mean,
yeah, I'm like, what the hell? Like,
You get nowhere-
really?
you get
We need to
nowhere
have
fast.
Job descriptions?
Right.
Why do we need maybe the paid positions that we're paying you have a job description? Yeah, I get, okay. Your treasurer, your tax collector, and your
Getting
property
stressful.
manager. It is getting stressful. I'm
Right.
like, what the hell? Like, I'm sorry, stressing hell, but what are we doing here? A
I'm-
job description for a beach rep? Really?
Okay, I
And
asked,
maybe, okay, maybe,
I don't think we need one.
No,
but usually the nominating committee, and when people are asking what it entails, is that maybe why we need a job
Yes.
description?
Right, but what does it entail? It
But,
means.
but Lori gave a good description and I gave a good description of what I saw as my role
Mhm.
in the nominating committee, but each person kind of took and did their own way.
And isn't
Anyway.
that okay? Isn't that okay?
Yeah, so then you don't need a description if somebody's kind of doing it their own way.
And
Are we talking
actually,
about the board nominating, like the
But the
email? she sent
nominating-
you with-
Yeah,
But that's
she-
not for the public, that was for the board and for the nominating committee, right?
No, but when you
no.
get on the committee, you kind of got to know
Know
how
what
am I
to do.
doing this? So you
Right.
got to make up your mind. What the bare minimum is that in a description? And then from there, kind of each
Although
person
the-
volunteers the way they want to volunteer.
But I
Right.
think they're all the same. I don't think there's individual descriptions for each beach rep.
Oh, I don't
agree.
think so either.
Okay.
I
I
agree.
think
One
it's just a generic,
generalized-
it's just a generic thing so that when people ask the nominating committee, what's be, like, they don't understand a beach rep and a board member are the same thing.
Okay, but we're also community members. And so all of the volunteer work we do is not necessarily because we're a beach rep or a board on the
Oh,
board of governors.
agreed.
And so I don't understand why I don't understand why we have to describe being what a representative means. I mean,
I mean, it could be like 2 sentences because on the nominating committee, people ask, well,
Okay, well, the
First
nominating
beach rep.
committee, you can explain to them.
Mhm.
You represent the people in your
But I
district.
think it goes beyond nominating, and I don't,
I second that.
I'm not sure why
nominate
there's
that.
such a hesitation for it. So when you're talking about new
Cause I don't want to write
members,
it.
if you're talking
'Cause
about
I'm not
new
writing it.
members, I mean, it could be bullets, right? So I just bought here. I don't know anything about here. I'm gonna go on the website and I'm gonna look at all the documents on the website. I have no idea that there's even beach reps. So it doesn't need to be anything formal.
right.
But for me, I think it's more about an awareness. This is my association. This is what I can expect for this association. This is what, if I want to get involved, oh, there's a beach rep. I don't necessarily think it needs to be formal, but I do think
It's in our
there
bylaws
needs
that
to
there are
be.
beach reps, and it says, so read your bylaws, hear your
It does-
bylaws,
it does
read your
say it.
charter.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we keep writing all these I'm sorry,
the word-
I'm feeling very stressed. And
I agree.
there's a lot of stuff that I'm tired of doing, a lot of this writing of stuff that nobody's gonna read.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
I agree, Nancy, it's important because there were some documents you had to know for nominating. So maybe there are a few others, but not many.
Is there a welcome packet for new people that come?
We need to have that.
Well, and so I was
Let's
gonna,
do that.
say that part of this website, that's part of my thoughts on this website project, there's an owner's guide tab.
Yeah.
And it has a whole bunch of
Stuff.
stuff that you don't
Yeah.
really need.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Like there's so much crap on our website and then you open one and then there's more headings underneath and it's like, and then to go find a page that I have to post something to is like, it's pulling teeth.
Overcomplicated.
It's
Yeah.
way overcomplicated.
Yeah.
So I think, and I believe in the spring packet, we all had a little, hey, I'm Craig Montanari, I'm your first beach rep, blah, 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 like,
Yep.
so
That's
there,
true.
there was a
That's true.
write-up
It is
somewhere.
true.
No, thank
Maybe
you.
that
Yeah,
write-up
no,
just
that's
has to
true.
be at like maybe a simplified owner's guide.
Yeah.
These are the people,
That's fine.
right?
Whatever it is, something so that people well, I thought you're beach rep. No, I'm on the board. What? I thought you're on the board. Like,
I don't think that we have to,
No.
like, I don't think that each person has to write something. I think as we're going through the
Yeah.
web
I don't think
project,
so
we can
either.
just make it a
Right.
very general thing and
It's a
then add it.
general
Right.
statement on what a beach rep is relative to a board member. People don't understand that they're the same, one and the same.
Roy, read the bylaws.
Julia,
I
read the
know, I'm
bylaws.
just saying.
Half the people that move here don't even know we're a
We have-
taxing district.
All right, to
nobody knows
Lori,
anything.
it's Lori, Nancy, Lisa,
What's your name?
whatever, in the middle. Just put we do need a welcome packet that has everything in it, and it explains it in our bylaws and our charter about what reps are and what the board of governors are made of. Why are we, I don't,
So a
Unless you're gonna
welcome
write it for them.
packet to new members.
We already wrote it. It's 2 sentences.
Okay, put
It's,
it up there.
we represent the First Beach
Well,
District.
district.
Come to us with your issues.
That, I mean, basically, that,
You know,
that's
questions,
what I'm
comments,
saying.
concerns, I'm here. Here's my email.
As
Here's
a
my
board
phone.
member and your first speech
Yeah,
rep,
that's fine. But that's easy.
so they know they're
Right.
one and the same.
Well, the only complication too is they don't know really where the demarcations for second.
Well, they don't have to. They don't
Oh my
have to.
God.
That's another problem, right? But
That is in your charter. Read your charter.
But if somebody's bringing that up, it's not the majority of people who are confused about what the First Beach rep.
Well, I will
It's
tell
like a
you,
couple of people.
the last couple of years on nominating, yes, they did. Before Nancy did it. Yeah, it was huge. Well, what does a beach rep do? What is a beach rep? What is a beach rep? I heard it. I can't tell you how many.
All right,
times.
I'll send you a couple of sentences and we'll just put this to bed.
It's-
Thank
I
you.
mean,
I
it's
think
just
that
2 sentences.
Yeah.
It's not, it's
No,
not a
I-
big
that'll
one.
work.
Yeah, I'll send the sentences. I got you. Give me a few days.
Thank you.
I would like to maybe over the winter, take a look at like a welcome
idea.
new association members.
Yeah.
Kind of like, what do you need to know? I'm a new association member. What do I need to know?
And that's very
I'd
important.
like to, that's where I think I'm going. I would be going with this.
Go back to the parking issue that we had. And I can corroborate when I purchased, I was told things that are not necessarily true. So,
Right.
you know, I think it's an important piece to have as a working document that Julia can write. I'm just kidding.
The welcome packet, I agree with.
Yeah.
And that's maybe where you put all this stuff.
Yeah, right.
Somewhere. It's gotta go somewhere. 'Cause
Job
I
descriptions
mean,
are for paid positions.
I've talked to so many people. One guy
That
was
makes
like,
sense.
well, Lori, they're just dues. I'm like, no, they're not. That's taxes. People don't even know they're in a taxing district.
Right, which is why whatever we do, I think we need to use the right language. We
Correct.
can't call ourselves an association. You know, the neighborhood and taxing district.
But we are an
oh,
We are an
association.
Yeah.
association.
We're an association in a
In a taxing
taxing
district.
district.
Yeah, and that
We are the
confuses people.
property.
Right,
owners
but we can
association.
clean it up by
Which-
saying, this is how it works in very simple language, which is, I think, what I just cut Julia off because I didn't want her to get all upset. But I think very simple language, and here's our bylaws, here's our charter, come to us with questions. Like,
All right, Lori, what else you got?
motion to adjourn?
Well, no, I have I'm sorry, a member, under new business, right? New business? Anything from
I
Florida?
thought-
I
you
have
did that.
something too for new business. But
Okay.
go ahead.
Wait, no.
Oh, any more new business?
No, we were talking about job description. Go ahead, you guys.
I thought we
Well, no,
finished.
are we done with jobs? Because I have something
Yeah, go
totally
ahead.
different.
Yeah, me too. Go ahead.
Okay, is that okay?
Yeah,
Don't you get to bring up new?
No,
business
I
from
just
Florida?
have 2 quick questions. That's all.
Ask your questions.
There we
ahead.
go.
go for it.
Shelley and I are just starting to get the wheels turning on the physical store for next year.
Thank you.
Awesome.
In the initial store, the initial planning stages. So we're gonna need the PDF of the logos that are perhaps to give those to the screen printer for that. So should I have Shelley contact the 2 ladies that were doing the online store? Who owns the logos? Do we have the rights to those logos? Is it the online store's logo?
No, it's Pula's.
Okay.
So I only know just for me, they used one of my pictures and they asked for I had to give them permission or whatever to
Right.
use one of my, so I believe that's the status for all of the logos and pictures.
They should have a PDF. of it.
Yes.
No, I was in the advertising business for 36 years, so I know copyright laws.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, but I don't think we have anything trademarked. There's nothing that's.
No, it's
that's
if somebody
legal.
did
No, like for
In other
instance,
words,
like
did
my picture, right?
the company that we are using create those, and
Oh,
those
no.
are his proprietary
Oh,
information?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
okay.
believe so.
Because didn't we do a contest
We did a
last year?
contest.
Where,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just got to get the PDF sent. I'll have Shelley look into that for me.
Tell her to contact Chris Straken. I
Yeah.
believe Chris was the one
Okay,
in charge
Okay.
of creating and making sure that things
okay,
work.
oh, that's great, thank you. And finally, Brittany, her daughter wants to do beach raking next year. So is there a list for potential beach raker vacancies?
I don't know.
Property
Ask
manager, right?
Alex.
Property manager.
Okay.
Well, we took the stipends out of the property manager and put it under the board of governors.
Okay.
Alex should
So,
know
but-
that though. I mean, it doesn't matter where the stipends fall, it's properties, right? He's managing that.
Whether or not,
Wasn't it supposed to go
Because-
back after we got one?
'Cause
That's what I remember hearing as a member.
I think so.
Say it again.
It was supposed to go back to the property manager after we got one, is
The
what you, I
stipend.
heard you guys say. The
Not the
the
stipend.
management of
the
it.
management of it, but
yeah,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
stipend, yeah. And I think because they have to know who to talk to, I'm gonna take this day off, and they go to Alex with questions.
So
So,
go to Alex.
and have her email Alex and
He's at properties@lakehaywardct.com.
Lori? Keith will move the tractor tomorrow and those
Thank you.
stanchion things are like $130 each.
That's not bad.
Yes.
Thanks
Google
for,
it.
thanks for
I'm all done.
volunteering. Yeah.
on my questions.
Julia had her hand up.
A piece that a member asked me to bring it to the board. Everyone, is concerned about the 194 units called Lake Hayward. And they said, has the board discussed approaching that owner of the developer and requesting that they change the name?
But the property is not called Lake Hayward. The company building it is Lake Hayward Properties.
And aren't they gonna call it Lake Hayward something?
I don't know.
I
It's
think-
Colchester. So
I know it's Colchester.
Lake
They
Hayward-
have everything
They are
to
gonna
do.
call it Lake Hayward
They're gonna
something.
call it Lake Hayward something, and so
That's the name
they're.
of the road.
Lake
We can't,
Hayward Road.
Right.
we can't do anything about, we can't vote in Colchester about it, but their question is, has the board thought about approaching the developer and asking, appealing to their, whatever, would you consider changing the name because it is private?
I don't think they care.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay.
So how are we responding to this person?
I think some people from here went to that meeting and
They did.
tried to get them to change the name.
Yes, I read that.
And they said no?
No,
Yeah.
correct.
They don't care.
Because it's Lake Hayward Road.
Like
Yes.
Hayward Road, right, yeah.
There's not much we can do.
All right, well, thank you for that. I'll let the person know. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
No, I
Oh,
just have one
sorry,
comment,
sorry.
one quick comment. I just wanted to, while we're recording, wanted to say thank you to Mary Jean Otis. She's the one that's been doing the kiosks
Yes.
and they look
Oh.
wonderful.
She did a great fall. I saw it
She
tonight.
did, yeah. So she's making sure that all the notices are in there, all the agendas and everything else that are in there. So, and
Nice
thank
work.
you for giving her the copies.
Great
I
job.
just wanted it on.
I need a key.
Yes.
Is
I
Trista
might
Lee,
have one.
If I ever have to shut down the
Yep, You
water
got it.
for E. coli, I need to put up a notice. So I need a key for the kiosk.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
think I have one like that.
Now? Motion
Yes.
to adjourn?
I second the motion.
All in favor? Football,
Are you ready
baby.
for some football? See you, Chris. Hope you feel better.
Feel better, Chris?
he's sick too.
Thank
No.
you.
no, you had surgery.
I'm tired of
Yes,
this.
2 weeks ago.
Was
We
it
were
really?
Peggy
playing,
probably still, she finally got a matcha.
pickleball a couple weeks ago?
The Z-Pack, what do you call
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
I
Chris.
Right?
No,
And then-
almost
Take it away.
Take care.
Yeah.
Viral,
How do you
so
tell you?
there's
I
not
have
gonna help.
the
You
print.
really have to hit this, huh?
I got another visit from my
I haven't been one to
daycare
go.
grandchild.
Oh, the germ factory.
The germ factory. I'm trying, that's why I was doing it with the little one to try to avoid that.